So you're thinking of buying a piece of land. How do I know if it's a good one? How do I know if it's a good investment? How do I know if it's good for me? Well, stick around. I'm your North Carolina realtor and I'm here to tell you about it. Hi, so you're looking for a piece of land, which I believe it to be a great investment. We are talking about Asheville, North Carolina, specifically, and also Western North Carolina, so all around it, okay? This applies for land pretty much everywhere, but I'm talking about what I know, okay? So number one is the zoning. Check if the zoning of the property, you're on Zillow, which I'm not against necessarily, but it's not a professional tool. So please always refer and call your real estate agent. That's what we're here for. That's why we study, and that's why we know all we know to help you make a good decision. So we're talking about zoning. You're in Zillow, you read the zoning, you can see that. Look into it. Does that match? Does that apply? Does that work with whatever you want to do with the property? Number one thing. Number two, not less important, topography. Okay, you are looking at beautiful pictures. It's really hard to tell what the topography of the land is. So it's 20 acres, but guess what? Maybe only one or two are usable. Okay, so topography is super important. Number three, whichever one you want to make it, is soil. You're like, soil? How am I supposed to know about soil? Well, you don't know. And that's why there are people called soil scientists. Okay? That's a fancy name. And the reason why it's a fancy name, because they're very expensive. Okay? But this is something that I would advise you if you're looking into buying land. That's something you definitely need to invest in. Is someone that goes and analyze the property and does what is called a perk test to see if you're able to put a septic tank. Land without the ability to put a septic tank is pretty much worth how much? Zero. Okay, there is no value. It becomes like pretty much a garden. So if you cannot put a septic tank, you cannot put a structure, you cannot put a bathroom, therefore you can never build there. Therefore it really affects the value of the land. Does that make sense? Okay, number 4, utilities. It's kind of the same thing. Okay, you could be wanting to do more of a glamping situation and maybe off the grid, and so that's fine, but still, is there power on the property? That's something also that affects the value of the property. And even if there is power, where is the power? It's at the beginning of the property. Is it next to or close to wherever you want to build something? How much is going to cost to run the utilities wherever you need them? That's something very important, because you don't want to end up spending 3 times more what the land costs. Sometimes, if it's really special, maybe it's worth it. Is it worth it to you? I can't tell you that. But I can advise you and tell you if it's a good idea or not, in my opinion, based on what I know. Make sense? To recap, you're online. If you see cheap land, most of the time, please stay away from it. If it's inexpensive, there is a reason why. Okay? And most likely, even just access to the property is almost impossible, or will cost, like the land costs $100,000 and it will cost $150,000 just to make a road to access the property. So if you see something that is if it's too good to be true, it most likely is not. Okay? So call your realtor, or I'm here for you. I'm your North Carolina realtor. Hopefully that was helpful. Okay? Thank you, and reach out if you need me. Ciao.